Alright, fuck it. Okay. Hey guys, what is up? I am not super excited to talk about this video actually, but ignore the background noises. I have my door open. I'm doing a little construction in here right now, so I'm sorry if it looks crazy. I'm trying to finish it, but back to what I'm saying. Today, I want to really get into the nitty gritty of gun control in this country because it's out of control. You know, literally, it is. And I this is definitely one thing I really liked to talk about because it's such a divisive issue in this country. I think this everything most topics in this country are divisive. Like for some weird reason, like people feel split on healthcare and proper things that we deserve as actual citizens of this country. So there's a whole lot of things to unpack with a lot of these people and a lot of these structures that we uphold or uphold that. Oh God. But today I really wanted to talk about gun control because there's just been so many mass shootings going on lately, and most of them are happening in this country in the moment. There is gun issues in other countries, but for a first world country that we have probably we probably have a lot of mass shootings. It's a crazy amount. But with this video, my main goal is to start a discussion. I'm not necessarily here to clown people who are pro-gun or anti-gun or X, Y, and Z. Yes, I have my own opinions, which will definitely, you will see my bias, but I will be fair. But in reality, there's just so much. There's nuances, but there's also the black and white facts that we have to accept. And I feel like a lot of people, especially people that are super pro-gun, do not want to accept those realities. Honestly, I think when you live a certain way your whole life, and this is any type of person, when you live a certain way and you've been in a routine for years and decades, and this is what you're used to, change is hard. Change is hard. It is. So I'm not here to necessarily bash these pro-gun people into oblivion or just completely shit on them, because I think that would also be counterproductive. So with this video that I'm making, the main thing I really wanted to get into is do we need this? How can we solve this? What's the cost? X, Y, and Z. I should have probably noted this. I'm not gonna lie. I probably should write it down. I probably should take some notes, right? That would be smart, because I didn't even think to take notes. How silly of me. But just the main purpose is just to bring awareness, if anything, because I don't think I'm going to really change a lot of pro-gun people's minds. Realistically speaking, I think people already have their minds made up how they feel, and they don't give a fuck. So we also have to accept that as a thing and learn to move accordingly. So I think the first thing we need is to, oh geez, this is gonna be a long video, y'all. This might be an hour, but like I said, there's so many things that we just have to break down and just research. And I also have my tabs open for you guys to see. So I have certain things like examples that I want to show you guys of different things, and just especially how this country works, and the realities that we have to face, and moving forward using the information that we know, how do we move accordingly for the future. So the first thing, oh God, I know the mic picked that up, and oof, alright, I'm gonna probably cut that out. But we're gonna address the problem, and then why is this a problem, and then solutions. Very simple 3 points. video. I'm probably gonna do like a sloppy essay style. I was so bad at English, super lazy, but like here I am trying to make fucking YouTube videos because I like making videos on YouTube. But okay. So the first thing I'm actually gonna do is, in terms of addressing the problem, because a lot of people, especially the pro-gun people, their complaint is, well, if you take away our guns, how are we going to protect ourselves? Criminals are going to get guns regardless, and we're going to be powerful. We're going to be held powerless to defend ourselves. Fair argument in terms of this country. I'm not using this argument for Australia or England or other countries that ban guns. I'm just going to use it for America. Because I don't want to downplay this, but I think the education rate statewide, nationwide, is plummeting, and especially you can see it like in older folks, but you could definitely see it in the newer generation of people. Like, critical thinking is just not with us. Shit, oh my god. Critical thinking is on a decline, in my honest opinion. I feel like people don't know how to think about things deeply anymore as people once were, and it's kind of concerning. And I find that it's so funny because now we have access to the whole World Wide Web, where we can research anything, but we choose to just not do that. So I think for me, if I'm not sure of something, I'm always gonna Google it and look it up. So like I said, the problem itself is fear, and a lot of people are scared. They feel like they need this. They need their weapons, because what if the government already takes over? Or what if the government takes over, or tries to do something, or force us against our will? At least we have the right to bear arms to protect ourselves and rebel back. So fair point ish, but I really wanna counter that argument with the fact that what did the forefathers of this country fought for when they were under control of England? It was taxes. It was money. What was it? No taxation without representation. And here we are in 2022. We pay taxes on everything. Property taxes. We pay taxes on purchases. You buy food, you pay taxes. You drive your car, you pay taxes. You work, you pay taxes. We pay taxes on every little fucking thing in this country. We pay taxes to a point where I'm just like, damn, where is our tax money going sometimes? Because we pay so much in everything, guys. We pay so much. The forefathers literally fought. They said, we want our freedom and we don't want to pay this because this is a lot of money. Fuck this shit. They said that. But here we are doing the complete opposite. So exactly, who won, the government or us in this day and age? Did we win or did the government win? Because last time I checked, we're all kind of cattles, and it's kind of sad and depressing. We're work mules if you look at it in the most negative form, but we are. We get barely any social services. People are down on that do seek social services, and we kind of look down on them as a society. People that want to get food stamps and Section 8 and all these things, and we condemn people for seeking services when they need help. Why is that a thing? Why is that when we need help we kick people down and we shit on them and say, oh, I don't want to be like that, and and we look at people as they're beneath us? Why is that? Is our minds framed to be that way? And most people are embarrassed to get food stamps. Not everybody. There's people that swipe that shit proudly. I'm just saying, but a lot of people are embarrassed. They feel like they can't. They can't get. They're not on their feet. They're not in the right financial situation, whatever the case may be. They feel, they feel more helpless, and a lot of people don't want to admit to that. So we have to really address a lot of these issues, as because like the guns are. It's a symptom of a bigger issue. And I was watching a couple other videos. I'm gonna link them if because I like them. But I'm not gonna do this whole rant on one specific factor. But capitalism is a part of it, because guns make a lot of money. which is why, realistically speaking, they're not getting banned. I don't feel like anytime soon they might. There might be reforms that would come in the near future. I don't know. I can't guarantee that. I'm not a politician. I don't know what these people do in the fucking Oval Office. I don't know. There could be, but Sandy Hook Park, was it Park Slope? Oh my God, I'm saying something. Parkland shooting. Oh, there was in Florida. Tulsa shooting, the one in the hospital, Buffalo. Columbine. I'm just naming stuff, but I just recently named like 3 this year, this month, or this month and last month, because Buffalo was the end of May. So when people say, okay, well, I can't defend myself if I have no guns, if you guys take away my guns, what are we really? It's hard. It's hard to convince people that do not want to be convinced or find other ways to mediate a situation. So I'm gonna use this first article, and this is frequently asked questions about gun trafficking. And I think this this is an article because it's AmericanProgress.org. So y'all can say it's cap or not. Cap. They're gonna be cap. That's not true. That's propaganda. But it does have some accuracy in it, and I think I learned some new stuff, because I'm not looking up things about guns. I'm very much anti-gun, but I understand the mentality of I rather have it and not need it versus need it and not have it. So it can go both ways, especially in this country. A lot of people, everything is so divisive, so it's gonna split both ways, because that's just how a lot of things are built, and it's easier to control people when you divide people. It just is. So we're going to use frequently asked questions about gun trafficking. And I really like this article because I learned a lot. And I'm just going to break this down. I'm probably going to read the whole thing. I might cut it up. I don't know. So gun trafficking is the movement of guns from legal to illegal streams of commerce, and of course, both within state and across state lines. As former Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives ATF Director Bradley Buckle stated in a 2000 report, virtually every crime gun in the United States starts off as a legal firearm, which means it was purchased in this country. Okay. Making the need to prevent gun trafficking a crucial part of a comprehensive approach to reducing gun-related crimes. Guns are diverted into illegal gun markets in 3 common ways: straw purchases, secondary sales through private sellers, and theft from individual gun owners or firearm dealers. Straw purchases occurs when an individual who is not prohibited from buying a gun purchases a firearm on behalf of somebody else, usually someone who is prohibited by law from purchasing or processing a firearm. Or possessing, I said processing. For example, in February 2020, a 41-year-old man purchased a firearm in Virginia on behalf of a third party, who then resold the firearm to a man in New York City. In another case, September 2018, ATF arrested and charged 5 individuals who had purchased 30 firearms on behalf of prohibited buyers in Vermont, firearms that the ATF believed were smuggled to Boston. Gun diversion also occurs through private gun sales that do not require background checks. Oh my God, super important, because a lot of people are crying for background checks, and I think most gun purchases do have those, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, I could buy, let's say I could legally buy a gun, and 5 years later I decide I don't want it. I could say, well, I want to make some money off it, so let me just sell it off Facebook Marketplace or something, or maybe somebody I know wants to buy a gun, and I just sell it to them. So, and then that person has an unregistered gun, technically, because the government's not going to check me if I still have my gun. The police doesn't have a stop by to check people if they have their guns on them still. So we have to really take into consideration a lot of these things. However, private individuals who are not so licensed are free to sell guns without a background check. while 22 states and the District of Columbia have acted to close this gap in law that requires background checks for the private sales. 28 states 28 states do not have these requirements. This means that individuals who are prohibited from purchasing and possessing a firearm, such as violent felony convictions or history of domestic violence, can easily gain access to guns through private sales and then funnel them to trafficking channels. And finally, gun diversion often occurs through gun theft. An estimated 300,000 guns are stolen from gun dealers and private gun owners every year, and then frequently used in commissions of violent crimes. Data from ATF shows that from 2012 to 2019, more than 17,000 firearms recovered and traced after use in a crime had been reported stolen or missing by a licensed gun dealer. Okay, so I just broke that down for y'all. So I'm just going to read the whole article because I think it has a lot of useful information. While there are minimal data about gun trafficking in the United States, some indicators of trafficking activity are sustainable. Oh my God. By analyzing ATF data about guns that are recovered in connections with violent crimes and traced to determine their origin. One such indicator is time to crime. The time that elapsed between when a gun is first purchased at retail and when it's used in connection with a crime. Because the purchase of a gun shortly before it is used in a crime suggests that it was purchased for that intent. Law enforcement officials consider guns that have a time to crime of 3 years or less to be likely objects of trafficking. Nationally, 110,700 recovered crime guns had short time to crime in 2019, compared with 46,000 in 2012, a 137% increase. However, states vary widely when it comes to average time to crime, suggesting that some states have a larger problem than others when it comes to gun trafficking. A 2018 analysis, the Trace found that the states that exported the highest share of short-time guns of 1 year or less were Nevada, Missouri, and Virginia. Okay, it's kind of like the font is a little small, guys. Like, so bear with me. So, all right. So we got the gist of this. And then the last thing I want to touch on is international gun trafficking, also a problem. Yes, the biggest recipients of U.S. guns are Canada and Mexico. From 2014 and 2019, there were more than 11,000 firearms recovered in Canada that originated from the United States. Tragically, some firearms used in Canada's worst mass shootings, perpetrated in Nova Scotia in April 2020, were acquired in Maine and later smuggled into Canada. And from 2014 to 2019, more than 70,000 U.S. guns were recovered in Mexico. However, the number of recovered and traced firearms could represent only a small portion of a large number of firearms that are trafficked across the U.S. to Mexico border every year. A 2013 study found that between 2010 and 2012, close to 213,000 firearms were purchased annually in the United States and subsequently trafficked to Mexico. In fact, the Mexican government has sued American manufacturers for allegedly facilitating and marketing the sale of firearms to criminal groups in Mexico. Okay. So this, if I read this whole damn article, this video is going to take forever. But like, you guys get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. Because a lot of these argument is, well, where are the criminals going to get guns? Because a lot of the claims are, well, they're going to get it illegally from Mexico. And now we discovered through this article, and there's definitely more articles, with Mexico being sued. Like, so if y'all want to look that up, or I will leave links in the comments below or in the description, if you guys want to look more into that, so that there is different resources for you guys to find. Oh my God, I'm a little sick, so I don't know. But so a lot of the claims was, okay, well, if you take away our guns, criminals are going to get the guns from Mexico or whatever, whatever. And through this article, we discovered that Mexico is getting the guns from here. So isn't that really convenient? Like I believe in North America, we are probably the biggest manufacturer of firearms in North and South America. So that's one thing I will look up. So let's just search that real quick. Who is the biggest Okay, so we're just gonna Google search. We're gonna see. Okay, so we found one already. According to the ATF statistics, Ruger is currently America's largest firearm manufacturer. Okay, but that's not what I wanted to see. Okay, so who is the biggest gun producer? Okay, so we are wow, and then second to Russia. Okay, cool. Oh God. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So in terms of okay, so suppliers, we are the biggest gun supplier in the entire world. The world. Second is Russia, then France, then Germany, Spain, South Korea, Italy, China, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and Australia. And I'm pretty sure like these numbers are like more for like military and things like that. But like let's just take that all into consideration, right? We produce the most weapons even in the North America, South America region. We produce the most out of any other country. So the argument that people are just going to illegally get guns from Mexico and other countries or whatever the case may be is a little bit, I want to say a little bit invalid, and I think there's a lot of misconstrued information that people are just not looking into. So now I'm gonna get into this Family Guy video because I remember when I watched this as a kid and it still resonates with me now. So I'm just gonna show it. Then I'm gonna show this Trump speech, and then we're just gonna continue on with a video. So I'm just gonna play it for you guys.
Welcome, Quahog, to the Town Hall mayoral debate between incumbent Adam West and challenger Lois Griffin. We will now open up the floor to questions from a community at large.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin. How do you feel about those computer websites that put a blue square on the home of a sex offender?
Well, the safety of our children is a very important part of my plan for Quahog. I have a 12-point program for the security of
I'm sorry, your time is up.
No, I'm not impressed, not yet.
Mayor West, if re-elected, would you increase the frequency of garbage pickup?
Well, citizen, that's an excellent question, and I thank you for it. I think it's great we live in a town where you can ask questions. Because without questions, we just have answers. And an answer without a question is a statement.
Oh, I like him. He looks me in the eye.
I'd like to have a beer with him. I'm voting for him.
I don't understand these people. He didn't even say anything and they're eating it up.
Lois, undecided voters are the biggest idiots on the planet. Try giving short, simple answers.
Sir, your question, please?
Mrs. Griffin, what do you plan to do about crime in our city?
A lot. Because that's what Jesus wants. 9/11 was bad.
I agree with that.
God, I can't believe how easy this is.
Mrs. Griffin, what are your plans for cleaning up our environment?
9/11.
Mrs. Griffin, what about our traffic problem?
9/11.
Oh my god.
Look who's been nominated for 5 Tony
Yo,
Awards.
shut up. Okay. Alright, so I played that video for you guys to show because I don't want to say like the whole population of America are idiots. I think that would be just a little bit too unfair. But when I say like people are uneducated and are not well versed in politics, like this video was like, it's a parody of this country, but it is in fact true. This is how people are, and I'm gonna play Donald Trump video if you guys don't feel like I'm lying. If you feel like I'm lying. He had more, and I was trying to like, there's other points that he made, or like things that he said, but I couldn't find the video, and I wish I had saved it. So unfortunately I didn't, and I didn't think I was gonna make like a really deep video on this, but I wish I saved it. But I'm gonna show you guys. Here you go.
Surely we can all agree our school should not be the softest target. Our school should be the single hardest target in our country. And that's why, as part of a comprehensive school safety plan, it's time to finally allow highly trained teachers to safely and discreetly concealed carry. Let them concealed carry. Even if every decent and honest American gave up their guns, the criminals would never give up theirs, and they never will. They're never going to give up theirs. They would wreak havoc like never before in our country. The fact is, there will always be sick and demonic souls who wish to harm the innocent and see malice triumph over good. You're going to have that. But the existence of evil in our world is not a reason to disarm law-abiding citizens who know how to use their weapon and can protect a lot of people. The existence of evil is one of the very best reasons to arm law-abiding citizens.
Okay, so before I even like dissect what the fuck this man just said, did he not sound like Mayor West? Just say a whole bunch of nothing and people will just clap mindlessly. Like, did he not sound like Mayor West? Did he not? Like, if I just say, well, if the guns aren't bad, but, and if you say like in a real calm way, like the guns aren't bad, it's the access of the schools that we need to work on. And if we work on these doors and make sure that these doors are armed with electric tasers, we can protect these children, because the children are our future. If we have laser walls that shoot out infinity beams across against these killers, against these mass shooters, we can protect our children properly. Like, you could just say like any type of dumb shit and people will be like, and it's like, are we processing what he's telling us? And I I don't want to, I feel slighted, because telling, it's like, okay, like you want the teacher to be so the argument is, okay, now every single teacher in America, now they have to they have to study to get their education degree, and now they have to train to be a licensed firearm owner and have their weapon on them at all times. And y'all, schools are not easy. Like, children can be very hard. Like teenagers, you know, kids are more easy to work with, but like, you know, let's say like teenagers, high schoolers, you know, a lot of times, like, I don't think you want a gun in those types of environments because, like, especially like this generation of kids, like, they don't give a fuck. So it's like, why have all that tension to be on a teacher? Why? Why put all that pressure on a teacher, and God forbid something does happen to teachers, and we arm the teacher, and then they don't do nothing, then we're gonna blame all the teachers now. Oh, it fell on the teacher. It's the teacher's fault. So now it's being blamed. Now the blame is being shifted to the educators, with which their job is to educate. Their job isn't. I mean, teachers are there to ensure the safety of the children, of course, but the teachers are not the law-abiding protectors. So we have to not conflate the two, because y'all, teachers don't get paid enough to do this, to sit there and like teach y'all's badass kids and then be avengers too. Like they're not gonna, like, that's asking for too much of the occupation. It's not fair. It does not make sense. Like, yes, you know, in some of these pro guns people, like, yes, I want some teachers to have it. You know, that's your argument. Fair enough. But it just doesn't make sense. Why should the teacher have? Why should the teachers be the one to arm themselves? A school should not be a environment where you're even in that mentality. Like, oh, if some shit goes off, my teacher's gonna pop up. Blah 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 blah. Like, it doesn't. It's not like 2 + 2 is not giving 4 in any logical way at all. And I feel like a lot of times these people that are super pro gun, it's anything to protect the status quo instead of really saying, okay, like, how do we move forward, and how do we move forward with the least amount of repercussions to everybody, not just me and what I'm trying to protect, but for everybody's well-being. Because at this point, we're all at risk. We can't go to the grocery stores. We can't go to the hospital. We can't go to church without the fear of something happening to us. Now, you know, that is life. You could go to work and drive your car and end up in a car accident. You know what I'm saying? Things happen. Things happen, God forbid, but things happen. But we could definitely lower the statistics of these things. We can lower the numbers. So why aren't we fighting to lower the numbers and prevent, instead of enabling people to still continue to do the same things? Because the boy that bought the gun and killed 21 people, he bought it legally. He saved his money up from his job and he bought it legally at 18 years old. At 18 years old in this country, you cannot even fucking drink. You cannot, you legally are not even allowed to have alcohol until you're 21. So how is it that you're able to not buy alcohol, but you can buy a weapon that can end someone's life instantaneously? That's the craziest thing that is so mind-boggling to me. You can end somebody's life instantaneously. Like, there's a difference. Like, there's a difference between killing someone with a knife. There's a difference between killing somebody with a car, X, Y, Z. Like, a gun is instantaneous. Like, you get shot in the head, you're done. Period. It's instant. It's like you're not gonna be functioning after a shot in the head. You're not. Like, most people die from that. So why is it that we're trying so hard to protect something that is not working? We have other countries. England had a mass shooting in 1996. Was it 90? And let's just say in the 90s. They banned most guns, and now police officers in England don't even have guns. And let me just make sure that I'm not talking out my ass. Okay. Okay, so there's some articles here. Okay, so I don't want to be talking my ass. So I don't want to just say stuff without, looking it up. So I'm going to try to skim to see if we can get... Okay, so this 27 article. British police are attempting to recruit more firearm officers, but the overwhelming majority will remain unarmed. Okay, so we'll just go on NBC real quick. It's lagging a little bit. Don't lag. I feel like I'm streaming. Okay, so, and yet the more than 90% of the Capitol's police officers carry out their daily duties without guns. Most rely on other tools to keep the city safe: canister of mace, handcuffs, batons, and occasionally stun guns. Okay. Alright, so there we go. There we go. They got the stun guns. So we're just this is like stuck in the mud and like a rock in a really hard place. I don't know if I use that term right, but if other countries can do this, we can do this too. There's nothing stopping us. The only thing stopping the mass manufacture of these weapons is money. And I am a sole believer that money is the root of all evils, greed and power. It is. It absolutely is, because the NRA itself has so many politicians in their pockets simply because they can fund their campaigns. So now these politicians, they're obligated to these companies that are funding them. So now they have stakes in these companies, in these giant entities, and now we are being compromised as citizens. Now we are not getting our best interests taken seriously. The interests of these entities are now being taken seriously and not ours. We are pushed to the side, and we're kind of just like, we're entertained sometimes, but not most times. And that's very scary. Because and the craziest thing is too with this whole situation is police aren't obligated to help us. They're not obligated to jump in. Just like, you know, all those officers stood outside and did nothing for an hour while the dude was shooting up the school. A whole hour. And I'm gonna play you guys this last video before we get into the last part that I want to kind of break down for you guys. It's a 9-minute video. I don't know if I want to play the whole 9 minutes, but I will leave the link if you guys want to watch it.
Mother who ran inside the school in Uvalde, Texas to protect her kids. She says that police held her back and handcuffed her as the shooting unfolded. Lilia Luciano has the exclusive interview. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Anne Marie, and to Vlad. You know, I met with Angeli Gomez yesterday in a field nearby. She's a farm worker. She was telling me that her kids, on the morning of the shooting, had both graduation ceremonies or a ceremony at school. She showed up there, but she didn't want to take photos with them. She told me she was embarrassed because she had come straight from work. She was working early that morning, and she was dusty from the field, but her kids told her, "Mom, we want to take this photo." She says, you know, I'm so glad I took that photo because it could have been the last one, and it was for many of the parents who lost their children who had been there. Like many parents, after that, she left, she went back to work, back to the field. And within 10 minutes, she received a frantic call from her mom telling her that there was a shooting at the school. So she got in her car and she sped at about 100 miles an hour, she told me, until she finally got here. And this is what she told me after.
Right away as I parked, U.S. Marshals started coming toward my car saying that I wasn't allowed to be parked there. And he said, well, we're going to have to arrest you because you're being very uncooperative. I said, well, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm going in there, and I'm telling you right now, I don't see none of y'all in there. Y'all are standing with snipers, and y'all are far away. If y'all don't go in there, I'm going in there. He immediately put me in cuffs.
She says after Uvalde police officers told marshals to uncuff Gomez, she ran towards the school.
As soon as they uncuffed me, I jumped that first gate fence, and once I jumped it, I went to my son's class, and I knocked on the door, and I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, hey, they're already bulge cutting the fence to get me. She's like, you think we have time to get out? I said, y'all have time. I'm gonna run for my other son.
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling, and I'm being uncooperative, and I'm like, well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing. Y'all need to be in here. Give me your vest. Somebody give me a vest. Something. I started paying attention to how far the shots were being, so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door, the teacher didn't want to open the door for me. So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it. While you were inside the school, did you see officers
There was
inside
not
the
one
school?
officer inside the school when I ran to my second son's class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You
that
could hear the
it was an
gunshots.
active shooter.
It was still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
When you heard that it took law enforcement 75 minutes before they went in and stopped the shooter, what was your thinking, having been inside the school yourself?
I don't know. I was just thinking that they could have saved many more lives. They could have gone into that classroom and maybe 2 or 3 would have been gone, but they could have saved the whole class. They could have done something. Gone through the window, sniped them through the window. I mean, something, but nothing was being done. If anything, they were being more aggressive on us parents that were willing to go in there. And like I told one of the officers, I don't need you to protect me. Get away from me. I don't need your protection. If anything, I need you to go in there with me to go protect my kids. And if anything, they were being more aggressive on us. They were more pertained on keeping us back than getting into that school.
You know, her account is another reflection of just the gaps in communication, those holes that we're trying to fill about the information that was coming in from 911, what the officer...
Okay, so if I played the whole 9 minutes, it's just gonna make the video super long. But like, you guys get the idea of what's really going on here in this whole situation. Because the police aren't obligated to help us. Parents that were willing to go in, that did not give a fuck, they would risk their life for their children, as they should. If I was a parent and I was in the situation, bitch, I'm going in, because if that's my kid, you know, I would do that. Unless you don't love your children. People that love their children will do anything. So the fact that these police officers, they're not for the people, unfortunately. And it's sad. It's a sad situation. It is. And the government, it will not reprimand these people. Because I was watching a legal video, and I will leave his link in the video too, if you guys want to watch it. But because there's been cases where police, cases that went to Supreme Court where the police should have intervened when they didn't, and people end up dying. And the police department was still able to get off no problem, scotch-free. So let's really think about this as a whole collective. Like what are we paying these people for? Like, why am I being taxed every one of my paychecks? Like all my paychecks, you know, things that I'm paying for, like all the tax money that I pay every year. Like, what exactly is it going to? Because I'm confused. Because if these people don't even feel like they're obligated to help children that are being shot and you're in the vicinity, it's not like it's happening and they're getting to it and, you know, it might be too late. They're there while it's happening. While it was still continuing, and they chose to wait over 75 minutes, y'all. Like, this is a very scary situation to be in, especially like this country. And I find it very baffling how people are unwilling to change their stance on a lot of things. Like, you guys want these super powerful weapons. You feel like the government is going to try to do something to you or whatever the case may be. But the reality of the situation, the government won on a lot of things. If the police can get away with it, like, that says more on us, because we're allowing this as citizens. You know, honestly, like, I was expecting people to be protesting this, like, on a national level. I haven't seen any yet. You know, like, I and it's crazy because I feel like from my reaction to when George Floyd died, you know, I wasn't. Not, I definitely wasn't somebody that was like, yeah, I'm gonna go march in the street. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't. That didn't mean didn't have any empathy for the man, or didn't think, you know, the police should have been reprimanded. Of course I did, because what he did was wrong, and he should be held accountable. But I wasn't really like, oh yeah, I'm gonna march in the streets. I kind of I felt like something was going to happen, like just in my heart, I really did. And I think I'm just like, I think that's a level of complacency too, like that we all experience, because I just knew something was gonna happen, because there's no way you're gonna have a knee in somebody's neck. Like, that's not even protocol. Like, who does that? Come on, like that. There's no way he would have gotten away with that. So I just knew like something was gonna happen with that one. But with this, I really do want to go out and protest. I'm not gonna lie. I really want to get out in the streets and march and yell at the top of my lungs, because I don't think I've ever felt so strongly about anything in my life. I mean, there's other things, but this has definitely come close. Because something needs to be done. We need to have reforms. We need to be able to change. You know, people are talking about this is the Constitution, this is not right. The Constitution changes. Nothing's set in stone. Things can be changed, and we need to remember that. It's hard to change that, but it can be changed, because people don't need to be dying in these kinds of ways, especially kids. Oh my God, imagine being a little kid, 9-year-old, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, like little kids dying unexpectedly with their whole future ahead of them. So, and it's crazy. So we're gonna get into the solution part of this video, where I would give my personal solutions, which one of them would be, I honestly think we just need a ban of low caliber and high caliber. I was watching this video the other day, and the comment section was kind of super toxic. I think it was Kamala Harris or Joe or Kamala. One of them were talking about like the type of guns people should own, and you know, they feel like that's high caliber, and then a lot of people were correcting him, no, that's a low caliber, you don't even know your guns, or X, Y, and Z, or whatever. And I'm just like, the word semantics with some of these people, like, you guys are so pressed because he didn't know the difference between low caliber and high caliber. Like, does that even matter at this point? Does that really even matter? Because something that, if they're both that powerful to do that much damage, like, are we all on the same page here? Are we all thinking about the same thing? Are y'all on page 1 and we're on page 20? Like, what's going on? Because there's no way. I'm seeing people playing word semantics, y'all. Oh, that's a high caliber, or that's a low caliber. He doesn't know the guns. People that don't know about guns are talking about gun reforms. This is ridiculous. And I'm just like, yo, this is literally crazy. Because this I feel like this is the part where people are lacking critical thinking. Whether or not the gun is low caliber or high caliber is irrelevant to the point. If the gun can do that much damage in a short period of time, why should most people even have access to that? Why should regular folks have access to something like that? We should not. Realistically speaking, you know, this is one of the things where it's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Not sound like lovely tea, but it's not. At this point, we're not being fair to everybody, because most people don't have guns. Now, if people want something to protect themselves, I am all for non-lethal weapons that can apprehend people. You know, I'm definitely pro taser, pro stun gun, pro crossbow. And I know some people are gonna be like, oh, that's such a stupid suggestion, but like there's weapons that, you know, you can have that's not gonna take out a whole damn freaking classroom. Come on, like there's weapons that people can have that can do damage significant, but will not do, you know, but it's not gonna be widespread damage to the point where it's gonna be so debilitating to an entire group of people. And you know, some of these conservative solutions where oh, let's just arm every school in America with security. Why there's somebody banging? I guess we have to power through it, I guess. I don't know. Or I'll wait. Hold on. Let me see. So one person's solution was arm every school in America. And I think Ted and Donald, I believe they said this too as well. And some other person also said, like, well, schools should have one point of entry and one point of exit. So, like, if there's a fire, what happens now? Do all the kids die? Or like, do a majority of the children in the school die because they're trying to all be funneled through one exit and one entrance? It's like when we think about like the people that we elect as a group, we really wonder, because a lot of these people are stupid. They're not intelligent people. They're smart people because they know how to play a game. Realistically speaking, they're smart. They know how to be manipulative and get people riled up and get people emotional. But they're not intelligent. They're not. A lot of these people aren't thinking critically that are being elected. What happened? Where was Ted Cruz when Texas froze over? His fat ass was going to Mexico. Like, y'all, like, when I say a lot of these politicians do not give a fuck, and I'm not gonna write off every single politician, you know, but you know, generally speaking, a lot of them don't give a fuck. They're playing a game, and we fall for it every 4 to 8 years. Oh, it's Trump versus Biden and all these things, and it's just like, oh my god, like, do people not realize, like, it's the same outcome. It's just a different color of the outcome, but it's the same outcome. We're all getting fucked. We're all getting stabbed. We're all being hurt. So it's either we get hurt in our face or behind our backs. Which one do you choose? Because at this point, something needs to be done. That's going to be effective. That's going to help progress this country further. Like, we're going backwards. Why do people feel like they need all these things? They need these high caliber, low caliber, whatever the fuck kind of gun. Like, why? Why do you feel like you need all this? And I'm pretty sure, like, the NRA could manufacture, and this is the funniest things, the NRA could manufacture guns that are non-lethal, that are more effective. You know? I'm for tranquilizer guns, even though that's like, that could be its own can of worms in terms of abducting people. You know, you shoot somebody with a tranquilizer and knock them out. You know, like, there's different, like, if we bring up different solutions, there's different outcomes of questioning. Well, if you use this, then this happens. If I use X, then Y happens. So there's something, but we need to be having these discussions, whether or not people are Republican or Democrat. I don't give a fuck. Because, you know, the solution, especially to arm every school, like, schools already have security. Most schools have security. But to arm schools with police officers would cost a lot of money. And let's just calculate it, actually, so that you guys can see that it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's actually billions. But I want to calculate it to show you guys how much it would actually be. Here we go. And it's lagging. Oh my god. Okay, so alright, so first of all, we're gonna search the average police salary. United States. Okay, so salary estimates 53K to 71K. So the national average, this 2020, from Forbes.com, the national average annual wage of a police officer is $67,000, according to the BLS, a little over $15,000 more than the average annual salary. Okay, so we are gonna take this number, right? So if you arm, because the police would have to be at school year round. So we're gonna math this out real quick. So we're gonna do that. So let's say you put 5 officers on a school campus. So let's times it by 5 equals that. So that's how much you pay per school a year. Rough estimate, more or less. And then we're gonna see how many schools are in the US. So there's 131 basically thousand public and private schools, K to 12, in the United States. This is excluding colleges, universities, and private institutions. Right? So we're gonna times that. So this is per school. And we're gonna equal, we're gonna see. So this is how much money it will cost every year to have a police officer at every single school in America. 44 billion 254 million, right? $44 billion, y'all. $44 billion. That's yearly. And guess where that would come from? Our tax money. Our tax money, y'all. So we would essentially pay for that. And the craziest thing is, you know, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm down for them. Yes, protect the kids, yes. And then in the same hand, when their taxes go up and they're paying more, I'm being taxed too much. This is too much. I can't. The government is destroying me. Let's pick a logical solutions. If we ban most arms and just stop most manufacturing for public use, that we could allocate that money into reducing the sales of illegal firearms and basically funneling it so that criminals have less opportunities to get these weapons in the first place. So imagine if we take that money and just put it into that. We literally just reduced the issue to such an extent that we wouldn't be like, the statistics would be so different speaking. But that would just be my honest take on this. I don't know if I made this video too long, but I hope that you guys were able to get something from this. I definitely do like doing videos like this where we do a little bit more research and we look into things, because it is important to research and find information. If you think the information that I brought to you is inaccurate, do your own research. That's all I can say. I can't say it enough. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Because I'm only one person. I am not an encyclopedia. I'm not the World Wide Web. I don't have a gazillion links in my mind. I'm just one person trying to show something on the internet. I'm literally nobody in reality. So if you feel like something I'm saying is inaccurate or skewed, do your due diligence. And I'm going to make a point on this, back to the critical thinking and the due diligence point. People want information fed to them. Nobody really want to do the work in terms of searching for things and looking to it and finding the actual statistics that's going to really help and broaden their mind. People want to be told things and feel a certain way because they're told that, and never look into it. And it's crazy because that's sad. Like, you're not supposed to just take people's word for anything. You're supposed to also do your own research and confirm things. So I hope that we do find a solution, because things are getting out of control and something needs to be done. You know, people are suggesting more thorough background checks. Some people are saying waiting periods. These are already things that are in place in different places. So we have to be able to look in the mirror and say, okay, like, what do we do? What should we do? Because a lot of times we know what to do. A lot of people know the answer. Because you can't blame blame it on the teachers being unarmed, or on the doors or the points of entries in the school. Like, yes, these are factors, but this isn't the correlate. The correlation isn't. The correlation doesn't mean causation. The school's door was open. Okay, the shooter came and shot it up. Like, the shooter would have found a way regardless. And if it wasn't, you know, this kids in the schools, there would have been people outside. It would have been somebody. So let's really think about how are we gonna move forward on these issues, especially this issue, because we need to find something quick that's gonna be able to that's gonna help the greater population. Like, I'm tired of hearing about mass shootings, and it's always happening in America. Like, yes, there's shootings that happen other places, and there's gun violence. I am from Jamaica. There's plenty of gun violence. Plenty. But we need to stop these we need to stop the manufacturing. That's my stance on this. The manufacturing of these weapons need to be stopped. Most people don't need them, and in my honest opinion, a lot of these guns turn people into I was gonna say pussies. I don't know if that's the most. I don't want to sound like misogynist. You know, I think women are awesome. But, like, you know, I'm just gonna say how I would just say it in general. I just think guns do turn people into fragile people that feel like they just needed to defend themselves. You know, back in the good old days, you know, people duked that shit out hand to hand. What happened? Now we have situations where, you know, they start a fight with people, they get their ass beat. Now they're running to their car to get their gun because they're pissed they got their ass beat. Because the gun is so much easier to inflict, instead of looking at ourselves and looking inside and being introspective and realizing where the problem really lies. Now we have this super convenient way of harming people, so convenient to the point where you could affect multiple people instantaneously. So I think my rant on this is kind of over. I think I made this video longer. This was actually a retake, but I think I like this one better. I think this one was a little bit more thorough. I think the other one was a little bit all over the place. This one too in certain places, but I think you guys get the idea of what I'm trying to get. I would love to hear comments from any opposing sides or people that agree. Like, I'm for everybody to speak their mind. We may not agree on certain things, but I do want people to be able to speak and, you know, freely say where their stance is. So if you guys made it this far, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you appreciate it. I will be leaving the links. So all these links here, I'm going to be leaving them in the description of the video, plus the things that I also referenced that I was going to link as well. And I'm going to have to watch this whole hour video and try to find things that I'm bringing up. But I hope you guys liked the video. I hope that you gotten something from it, and I hope that you I hope that you don't just take my word for it that this is a problem, that you look this up yourself. And I hope that you can see that there's a lot of manipulation happening, and I want people to really be able to open their eyes. Like, I don't really care if you're Democrat, Republican, that doesn't really. Democrat, Republican, anarchist, whatever the fuck. I don't, you know, helicopter, plane, skyrocket. I don't know. But wherever you stand on this political spectrum, I just want you to know, especially in this country, we don't get the government doesn't really treat us the best. And we get one of the worst treatments from our government. Like, we don't get the help that we should be getting. We don't be getting the assistance. So I really want people to really look into these things and ask why. That's a super important question. That's a super important word in general, is why. Why is this happening? Why is this a thing? Why are we doing this? Why is this the way it is? We have to ask why. And when you ask why, you ask more whys, and you start getting answers. And you might not like the answers, but you have to keep finding the answers. Well, but that's the video. I hope you guys like it. I know it's long as fuck. I was a little bit congested. I still am. I don't know necessarily how I sound, but I'm gonna try to do more videos like this more often, because I do like doing them. But, you know, this outro has been long for a little bit too long, and I'm just going to end the video here. I will say again, for my last time, thank you guys for watching. If you did watch and you like my message, let me know in the comments below. And if you feel like there's anything I could work on, I would definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.